What's going on, y'all? It's your man DJ Composition. We out here, LA, Hollywood. We in Hollywood, but we never been Hollywood. You know how we do. Shout out to my man Josh. We got a dope interview with him. We got a bunch of other interviews coming up. It's Grammy weekend. We out here in LA doing what we do, handling business. You know what it is. It's your guy DJ Composition, the youngest of the OGs. Troy C's, Rich P right here with me. It's the team. We out here doing it. Stay tuned. More to come. Two bright guys.
Let me guess. It must be Dirks.
What's going on, everybody? It's your guy, DJ Comp. I'm here. Third time's the charm?
Third time's the charm. Third time.
We needed this interview so much, I had to come out here. Because we tried to get you when you came into the house. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my homeboy Josh, but I'll let you give your own formal introduction, however you want to do it.
Josh Sikkema, Grand Rapids native.
Bam.
So put that right up in front.
Native.
Yeah,
from
native.
The 616.
I do not claim Los Angeles.
No.
But thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you for rocking with us, man.
Of course.
We had to get this. We are here, Beverly Hills. Is that where we are?
Beverly Hills.
Fancy.
I'm never here. This is not me. I live in the valley. Please don't go back home and say, "Oh, he's on some Hollywood."
Yeah, no,
that is not me.
He ain't Hollywood.
I am not Hollywood.
He ain't that Hollywood,
yeah.
but he making moves.
No 90210 from me, man.
No. So, I've seen your journey from back at home in Grand Rapids to where you are now and a lot of the big things. Give some people who wouldn't know your origin story. Like, what was the thing that like drove you and had you fired that passion for just doing videos and just being in this kind of art?
I think, growing up, I just found video. It was weird. I found it. Some people don't find their craft and what they love to do until their late 20s, or sometimes they never find it and they do a bunch of different, they pursue a bunch of different things. For me, I went to Forest Hills Eastern, which is a really nice school, and they had this program, this video production program. Right. Found exactly what I wanted to do. Fell in love with it, loved the studio atmosphere. And then from there was just a journey. I graduated school, dropped out of CC after a semester.
13th grade.
Yeah, 13th. And the thing is, it just wasn't for me. And here's one funny thing is, a lot of people don't know this, but I took my, you know how they give you like the FAFSA, the government 5,000, right?
Yep.
Took that, dropped my classes. So as soon as I dropped the classes, I got all that money back, right?
Right.
Bought a laptop and a camera. And then from there, it was on.
I bought so much DJ equipment with the FAFSA money.
Had to. It was a free loan from me.
Man, like
the interest sucked, but man,
it's a setup. The rest of it's a setup.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you hustled the equipment.
Yeah, I didn't really know at the time even what hustling was, but I did it.
So, what was your first project that you was like, you know what, fuck it, this is what I'm doing?
I think it wasn't more so a project. It was more so I had this feeling. Okay. Like I was like, if I can, maybe I was going off of like high school thoughts. Like everybody was like, oh, Josh is a cameraman. Josh with the camera. Josh, it was like no question. It was just tied to me. Mm-hmm. So I think what happened is I started tapping into like the local scene and working with, local musicians and local artists. And then ultimately at Wood TVA, when I went to work with them, I think I started feeling like, oh, this is my place in the world. And I'd never really had that. I kind of like, I sucked at school. I was not studious at all. I didn't want to do it. But the one thing I always wanted to do is pick up the camera. And I think that was, something that kind of brought me into another level. Right. It really ultimately pushed me to be a better version of myself. And I'd craved it. Like, I found out, like, how to, I was being on YouTube University is what I call it.
YouTube school?
Yeah, YouTube. And like I literally looked up everything, and I made so many mistakes, but the biggest thing is that I started learning, and I was like, wow, if I can teach myself and learn from other people, that's the way. You know,
Absolutely.
That's what I really.
Get all that out
that's how I found my passion. Right? That's how I found it.
So you made the transition. You were working in News 8.
Mm-hmm.
Said, you know what, I gotta go. How did that make you feel? Were you scared? Like was it like, you know what, fuck it, I'm balls deep? Like,
yeah,
what was it that brought you out to California?
I've always wanted to go to LA. And my parents were, you know, I was blessed enough to have amazing parents that understood, like, hey, obviously our kid, and I'm the oldest out of my family, they were like, man, maybe our kid isn't for college. And I was, you know, right. I made them a promise. I was like, before I got the job at Wood,
right.
I wrote down a promise to my stepdad, and I said, hey, I am going to be successful. I don't need a piece of paper to tell me that.
Right.
I will be successful. I will work my ass off for
Definitely.
it. And then I'm going to move to LA in 4 years. So I made a promise to them to be out of the house by 23. Mm-hmm. And I was 19 at the time.
Okay.
And I was like, you know, you guys can kick me out after, but at least give me 4 years to really refine myself, find what I want to do,
right,
so I can be set up. And then I promise you, you'll never hear from me again, except for the I love yous and coming back to Grand Rapids. Right. But you won't, you know, I don't need your financial dependence. I don't need anything. Just
right.
give me the opportunity.
Give me the time to do.
Yeah, exactly, to find myself. So that was ultimately the promise that I made to myself. And then I withhold like that deal, you know, and after with TVA, backstory on that. My boss at the time, Dan, who's amazing, sat me down. He was like, hey, this is the way we can go with you. You can be, and I was 23 at the time. Mm-hmm. You can be, you know, 23, get your own place in Grand Rapids and have like this, you know, good, you'll make a living, you know, for 23 years old. And I started there when I was 19. Right. I was making a good living. You know, it was okay. You know, it was good. So
it was comfortable.
It was comfortable. It was cool. So he's like, you know, you can take that comfort route, or, you know, you could go pursue other things. And just kind of winked at me, and I got it. Right then it clicked. I was like, if I'm going to do this, I have to do it now.
Got to.
And it was the perfect time. It was the perfect time in the sense of when it could ever be perfect, because there's never a good time to uproot your whole life and move somewhere else. And I did it. And I left, you know, at the time I had so much comfort. You know what I mean? I had it, you know, bank account was good, everything was great.
Life was going right.
Life was great. You know, I went, you know, I was known in the city, and it was cool. But I realized, like, hey, when you reach that comfort, that's when you have to get out. Yeah. You know, that's when it's time to go. That's when it's time, you know, because my whole life I'd had this feeling of, like, you know, being displacent and never, like, comfortable. Right. And I always thrived off that. So I was like, you know, let me reevaluate my life and see where I'm at. And I realized I'm not thriving. You know, I need to thrive. And everybody kept saying, like, you need to go, you need to go, you need to go. When you hear that over and over, it's like, all right, maybe I left my mark in Grand Rapids and I had to leave. Right.
Okay. So when you first transitioned out here, what was like the very first thing where you was like, oh shit, like I'm out here now?
The minute my mom actually drove out here with me in my old Buick. It was my grandmother's Buick, long drive. Barely made it.
West is big.
Yo, and the Colorado hills are like 90-degree inclines.
Dude,
it's just.
I done that drive.
Yep. And we did that. We did that in a 2000 Buick Regal, and I think my mom left, and I think it was like a week later. I called her and I was like, I'm really here. Right. You know what I mean? And she was like, yeah, like. It's time to go to work, you know, and you know, I always felt like this city kind of brought something out of me too. Definitely. You know, and you have a feeling, like anybody that comes here, like you're feeling it right now. Definitely. It's in the air, and it's hustlers only thrive out here. A lot of fake it to make it's and hopefuls and all that, but like I just really knew, like, hey, it's time for me to be a big boy and do what I always dreamed of doing.
Hell yeah.
But I mean, it's amazing. You got palm trees, beautiful skies, even in, you know, January, February. So
no polar vortex.
Yeah, exactly. So even when I was out here, when I started, you know, it still felt like a vacation. Right. But I think like a week or two in, and I was like, wow, it's time. I gotta go.
It's time to get to it. Yeah.
Then it really hit me. Right. You know.
So one thing that I found, like just being an entrepreneur and like pursuing my passions, that growth piece that you talked about, you got to make yourself uncomfortable. I also find that some of your biggest steps in growing come from some setbacks and some losses. What were some of the setbacks and losses that you encountered that like you took and you learned and you got better from?
The biggest thing is I took like a big L. My first
big lessons. That's what we only take lessons.
Exactly, I love that. The first 6 months that I was out here,
okay,
I kind of really was misguided in what my direction was, what my purpose was. I fell into like, I thought I had to go out at night to really make sense of what I was doing and meet all these connections, which are just like, we'll link up next week connections. So they're not really, they're not real. So I think following like what other people had said about LA, like, I got to go out. No, that's not it. I really transitioned into being like a man, I think, coming out here and I had a big growth period where I was like, okay, I'm on my own now for the first time in my life. I really need to, I need to bust ass. This is the time to really put in the work. I spent so many years, like from, I started at Little Caesars, when I was 15 years old.
Right.
And then I, transitioned, worked at Wood, and I was like, I did so much, work during that period of my life, like hard work. I worked weekend overnights from midnight till noon the next day at Wood. I did shifts that nobody would do, back to back. I gave up my weekends, I gave up everything. And so I was like, am I going to come out here and just let that go to waste?
Right.
No, I can't do that. And then move back and have to swallow my pride,
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But, that's what really ultimately gave me that push.
Got you. All right, so fast forward now, what are some of the projects that some of the people who don't know you personally have had an opportunity to see and be like, damn, I didn't know that was him. So, like, what were some of the things that you've been involved with that was like,
I think now, I work at this startup. I'm doing, it's called Slick, Sports Lifestyle and Culture. It's a partnership founded by Baron Davis, the former athlete.
Yep.
So right now I provide content for them.
Okay.
And then also I'm kind of taking lead content creator there.
Got you.
Taking charge and kind of starting it from ground zero all the way up.
All right.
So being able to work with Baron. Baron's like a entrepreneur, he's more. I don't even know how to describe him. He's not just a guy that would be like, yo, I played basketball. He's somebody that like just business driven, entrepreneurial, wants to buy into every new tech startup, and he's very passionate about creating content. So that was like a great person for me to like, I was and I was like, a former athlete really is this involved, but he is. Like we just shot a commercial for Black Santa, which is like one of his brands, right?
Nice.
And he was over my shoulder the whole time I had the camera, And he's like, we need this angle, this angle, this angle. And and then I would provide my 2 cents, and that's how we worked.
Right.
And I was like, I don't think in any other atmosphere I'd ever get this. Like, working with an athlete that's this involved, at this point in time in his career, it's so cool. And, we travel together, we go everywhere. So he's one of him, and then also working with Maya, she's somebody I always grew up watching.
Right.
So
all of us did.
I'm very involved. I'm very involved in her life, and I think it's so cool to maybe kind of take more of a big brother approach to the relationship. Her and I just like we click, and it's super dope. And like that's my friend. You know what I mean? Like all these people, like they're my friends.
It's a true relationship. It's a friendship. It's a bond.
And there's a difference out in LA because everybody's like, okay, like that's the homie or that's the whatever. Like I only have a core group of like people that I really work with.
Right.
But I consider them friends.
Got you.
Like those are people that I can call, help. They can help me through situations.
Right.
Or
I got a flat tire. I'm stuck. Come get me.
And they go beyond just it's like with Maya, we just did Indonesia and then went to Costa Rica, and the whole time it feels like, I'm with the homie. It's not like, like I'm working. It never feels like work.
Right.
Like you probably saw some of the Instagrams I had, like, I'm in a pool floating around. We're at the house and she's like, yeah, just take the day off, do whatever you want. And it's like, just the relationships I have built that I've been fortunate and blessed to have, they're real relationships. They're fruitful relationships. And so going back to what, you had asked, I think it's more seeing the side of people, like these people are real people,
right.
And whether I'm working with somebody who's up and coming artist or I only like to work with real, genuine people.
Right.
And I did get lost when I first came out to LA. Like everybody falls into the hype. It's like it's inevitable.
Right.
So I think I ended up going back to my grassroots. Like let's go back to Grand Rapids almost and make my experience in Grand Rapids. I had the core group of people.
Yep.
So you got to find that out here. Your core group of people that you can feed off of mentally and monetary.
Right. Definitely.
But so that was the biggest thing is I learned like these athletes, artists, whoever it may be, watching them be more involved is amazing, and then also watching them become like my friends. It's even better. It's been a blessing. Yeah.
So how did the initial like meeting with Baron come about? How did
I was brought into it.
Out,
yeah. So I was brought into a situation last year. I used to work at subsidiary of RCA Records. I worked at Biostorm. The lead tech guy there, who's just kind of like a juggernaut of everything. I've been doing work with him for 4 years now.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of like him and I have just clicked, and he had this situation with Baron. He's like, I want to pull you in. And the first thing we did was, I sat down with Baron and they gave me these projects. One was the Hulu House. It was a partnership with Hulu.
Okay.
And we did a couple other things, and then also I did the Big 3 tour with Baron. The guy who's the juggernaut in the situation, that's just a master of everything, was like, Josh is my guy. He's always been my go-to guy for media, anything media coordinated. So I handled everything, and I killed it. And I think they saw like the execution. And like, hey, he's a good guy. Execution is everything. So it stuck. And that's like, that's been the ongoing thing in LA. It's like, for me, I've been getting work off just the sole fact that, one, I'm a good human. Right. So like, I'm very personable. Like, we can sit down, look eye to eye, and I can promise you all these things, but not only can I promise, I can deliver. Right. And I don't want to be put in this box as like, I think I came out here and I was like, oh, I have to be this or I have to be that. And then people started labeling like, oh, he's a videographer. And I'm like trying to get away from that now, more like a content creator. So I can provide everything from, I can fully produce your whole movie, or I can do a short film, or I can go travel with an artist. I can do, I'll still do the music videos, whatever. But like, I'm just a content creator. There's no like media, that's just a medium of it's just a piece what of I do. Yeah. So I just wanted it to kind of, I started branding myself as that. Right. And I wanted to be seen as that. Okay. So as someone who's a passion-driven person, I'm very ambitious, and I got like a small little checklist of like, I want to do this, and I get after it. What are some of the things that you have left on your list, like your mental checklist of like, this is what I'm shooting for now, and this is what I'm going to go get? Yeah, that's a great question. I think I want to get away from having to be the guy that's like on Instagram or social media and always doing things. Right. I think I want to get very quiet, and I want to find I'm refining. Like I noticed I'm refining so much of myself, and it's pieces every year. I'm starting to take off. Like I'll shave off something last year, and really work at it. Refine my skill and my craft. That's one thing. I want to get quiet and just really focus, because this year is a huge year for me. Definitely. And what I have going on, and I have an opportunity to not only, put myself on, but other people. Right. So I have a whole team behind me. I'm kind of like a quarterback in this situation. So I have a guy from Atlanta, a guy from Grand Rapids, actually too, and I have my crew under me. And I really want to tackle massive projects. Got a couple deals in the works right now with some big brands. So I think I want to move more into the commercial route. Gotcha. And providing content. It's really weird because with me having my Wood TV background, as a photojournalist, you have to be really quick on your feet. Mm-hmm. You're getting a story every day and you have a limited amount of time. So one thing I'm really good at that I learned is like I can go anywhere with a small camera package and create something that looks like it's a movie or a trailer.
Right.
For instance, we just did with Jermaine Dupri. I went and shot the So Def tour, right? In Atlanta, biggest names in hip hop.
Right.
JD's great guy, but we had 24 hours of notice. Okay, to go from flights to me setting up the crew to flying out with the gear
And getting all the material.
getting everything together and getting the content quick and turning it around in 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was a 48-hour turnaround. Did it, crushed it. It looks amazing, and the stuff we provided is stuff that could be used for a short film, could be used for a documentary. You know, so I think that's kind of my niche, is bringing that high production level last minute. Like you calling me, telling me you have an event, or you know you have a music video you got to shoot, and me going right to it and killing it. You know, while I'm traveling.
They have the confidence that the quality is still going to be high.
Yeah,
even
it
though
won't
it's
be
last minute.
sacrificed.
Yeah, you're not
So
sacrificing
like,
the quality.
and so now we take that into like brand meetings, right? And brands are like, hey, we only have $10,000-$15,000 budget, right? All right, well I'm going to give you 25, 30, right? In quality, you know. So just really marginalizing that game. Finding out, you know, like we talked about refining.
Right.
That's something as a creator, like I figured out kind of like with myself,
Right.
and that's my edge.
Right.
You know, like my guy that's the juggernaut in the situation, he can call me and he'll know I'll go up to the Bay in 5-hour notice. You know what I
get it
mean?
done.
I'll fly to Atlanta. I'll go wherever. You know, I can travel in a moment's notice with Baron or whoever it may
Right.
be. So I think over time, it's just, you know, execution. I can't say enough. That's been my big thing.
Right.
You know?
Definitely. So, okay. You gotta write a letter to yourself. Your 18-year-old self. 'Cause,
Okay.
I mean, you're already a pretty
Yeah.
ambitious, driven
Yeah.
guy, right? You're writing this letter to your 18-year-old self. What are you telling yourself?
Just stick with your gut. Like really, really do that and be like a humble, good person.
Got you.
Those qualities will take you further than anything else. You know, like people always try to be like, oh, I need to be the best at my craft. I got stuck in this like notion of having to follow other directors' paths, you know,
Right.
and being now like complacent. Like don't be complacent at all. You know, like we talked about, like when I had that feeling in Grand Rapids where I was like, oh, I feel great.
Right.
Got a big bank account. Things are great. I have a secure job. I'm comfortable. Like get out of that, you know, explore the uncharted, you know, and I've always been like living out of my suitcase or whatever, traveling with whoever and just really getting away from that comfort.
Got you.
And that's taken me far, and I've thrived off of, like I said, being a good person, good, genuine person, and really like buckling down and executing.
And see, I think a lot of people don't quite understand the value of just being a good person.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Can take you a long way. And
can
it's
take-
sad because it shouldn't be like that.
it shouldn't be like
Yeah.
that. Like my parents, they taught me the two most important words are please and thank you.
Yes.
That'll get you so far in life. You'd be surprised when you say thank you to somebody, like they kind of jump like,
Yeah.
damn, you said thank you, like why wouldn't I?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
So
And being respectful, you got to be wherever you are. Like, you know, I'll be put into so many different situations.
Right.
I can be, you know, in the hood shooting a music video, or I can be, you know, suit and tie in a boardroom with a brand. Like, just being able to sit anywhere, you know, and that comes with traveling and exposing yourself to other
Absolutely.
situations, other people. Coming to LA was a huge cultural change for me.
Definitely.
I realized, wow, I'm such a small fish in this world, like, you know, in this pond. And like, you know, Grand Rapids, it's different, you know. But I think I exposed myself as a 18-year-old, you know, so I would tell myself even then, like, go expose yourself to as many cultural different things as you can. That's going to bring you so much in life. And you're going to learn about other people, learn about yourself,
Right.
you know, learn about the world. You know, there's a bigger world out there.
So what has been one of your most interesting like shoots or gigs that you had to do that was like, oh wow, like I can't believe I was here, or it was just a wild story?
Yeah, recently the So Def show was crazy because I got to see like everybody that I think is a really funny like thing. Like I was on stage and my camera op, Mike at the time, he's from Grand Rapids, Mike Jennings, was on stage. I was next to Monica, and it was Jagged Edge and Jermaine were on stage. So I'm next to Monica, she's side stage with me, and then Bow Wow's right next to her. Mm-hmm. And we're all on stage, and Mike is like bumping into this girl, right? And it was Monica the whole time, but I was like, Mike, you can't, like I pulled him away because he was shooting Jagged Edge and Jermaine. And I was like, hey man, like don't bump into her. She's an amazing artist. Like you just don't know it, you know? So that was like a really funny thing. And then weird thing, but like Murphy Lee like walked on stage. I'm a huge Murphy Lee guy. So like I like spazzing out. I still have like the video I have to show you. But I have the video of like him walking on stage, and like for some reason I was like, oh my God, like everybody that I grew up like listening to and watching they're like blessing the stage right now. And it was that was awesome. Doing this last trip with Maya was like pretty insane. We were in Costa Rica backpacking, and I had the Red camera at the time with me. And the waterfall guy, our guide or whatever, I don't even know if he was like a real guide, but he knew what he was doing, so we were going with it. But like, you know, he had like this waterproof backpack for me, right? Mm-hmm. Not even a backpack, it was just like a bag. Mm-hmm. He's like, throw the camera in this. And I'm like, I'm not taking my $30,000 some camera and backpacking with this. And he's like, trust me, you're gonna want it. I was like, you sure I can't just take it? He's like, no. And we get up there, and I'm telling you, Maya's got us doing like rope climbing up a mountain with a waterfall coming down, hitting our face. I mean, it was like, I've been doing like I've been in the thick of it, you know, like I've done some like exploring and like fun hikes.
You got your stripes, so you didn't see a lot.
But this was like, I looked at her, I was like, I don't know. And it was fun though. Like we went cliff diving and jumped into waterfalls, and it was beautiful. It was an amazing time. But that was crazy. You know, and that was like a surreal moment where I was like, never in a million years did I think somebody I used to watch on MTV would be like, I was like coaching her so that she would jump into the waterfall. She got scared. She got cold feet jumping in. And I had to go up there and do it 4 times before she jumped. And I thought it was so funny. Like, I was like, it was surreal to me. I was like, I never thought that would be the homie. You know? So, and like I have that all the time. I don't necessarily have it with athletes. I've had like, you know, because I'm not like really a sports guy. It's weird because I work at a sports company. And I do a lot of sports related stuff. But I'm more like, I guess when I meet people that I really, really admire and really strive to be like, I think when I finally meet them and they share the same aspirations, the goals, and the qualities that I have, I think that's more of like, I get that awe, you know? So, yeah.
All right. Well, let people know how they can follow you and see your story unfold.
Yeah, I mean, you can follow me on Instagram at the JSick, TheJSIKK, and or on Facebook you can find me. I don't really like to have like people follow me. It's kind of like a weird thing. I guess I got over the sense of having to be Instagram famous or something. I got you. Like, if you watch my stories, you'll probably find some like interesting stuff. I always I always have some humor, or you know, I'm showing like fun stuff that we're doing that gives an insight of who I am. But like, you could just write me an email, whatever.
And with the content that you're creating, where can people see that stuff at?
All over. I don't have like a YouTube. It's really weird.
Is it
like I don't.
With the stuff
the platform Slick.
The platform was Slick. Is there
you
like
can follow
a specific
at Slick SLIC and see like or Baron Davis. You can follow him on Instagram, or Maya. You know, these people that I work with, they all post the stuff, and I don't really. I just took a back seat, and I more like to just create and you know, like I would shoot some stuff, and you look at it, and you'd be like, "You shot this?" Like, how come your name's not on? Like, I don't even put my names on videos. I guess it's more like I like that incognito, and I'm learning to fall back, if you will, and really just do more behind the scenes work and get quieter and just really refine my skill, and then make the content great. If the content's inevitably great, you're gonna succeed. You know, and if you can deliver and execute, people always, you know, they'll always keep hiring you.
So listen. I know you're into music. We ask everybody who we do these shows with, what's your top 5 albums of all time? And you can do any genre if you want to. Most people do hip hop.
Can we change? Is this like a question on every show?
Yeah.
I couldn't even give you my top 5 albums. Can I give you my top artist right now?
Yep, you could do that.
Best artist right now is Nipsey Hussle, hands down.
And I absolutely agree
Hands
with you
down.
on that.
As an entrepreneur, I think like I look at more musicians as like well-rounded beings. Like I had an interesting conversation with Chameleonaire, and I never would have thought like he's into tech startups.
Big time.
And like his mind blew me away
Right.
when he started talking. So like now I think I start to see, I pick up that side of him.
Right.
Like I love the music. Like his story to me is amazing. For him to tell a hood story and be so business minded about something, like, you know what got me about Nipsey? And he's like not too far away. He's actually in this hotel right now. Selling the mixtape for $100. Genius.
Absolutely.
Genius. Absolutely genius. So like, I guess when I see that, that's what attracts me. And I'm like, oh, Andy's talking about stuff that I can work out to.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like, it doesn't necessarily pertain to my life, but I love the story.
But there is a connection.
Yeah.
Because you're an ambitious person and you like, hey, you know, and that's the power of music. Like for me, when I play music, my goal is to find like the common denominator with music in the room and connect strangers where you're celebrating the victories of your life or you escaping some bad times.
Yeah, exactly.
So like that's kind of like my aim when I do my events or whatever. So
it's always interesting. Like I guess I don't even know if I could, like Illmatic will be up there. You know, like I could go and give you the rundown, but I think right now, like somebody I'm really like, I got Nipsey on like he's just covers my Spotify.
Definitely.
So like I'm just very with music, I'm very like now, and the artists I see now, I'm like, what? Like it's just turn and burn. I've been in the music industry, like you know, like I worked at a record label. I worked at 2 different record labels. Was an A&R at one time, content creative for a whole gang of artists. But I just don't feel like, I don't know. I just don't have
Let me switch
I don't have
gears.
Yeah,
Let me
go ahead.
throw a curveball.
Yeah.
What's your favorite movie of all time?
Blow is Johnny Depp.
'Cause I know, like,
Johnny Depp, Penelope Cruz will never. That to me was it. Goodfellas, Scarface.
Because do you, being a content creator, and looking at visuals, do you approach it and look at it differently? Like, because for me, like if I go to an event and someone else is DJing or I'm hearing music, I listen to it differently.
I do too. Yeah.
So I wonder, like, do you look at things through that lens? So to speak?
I do.
So,
I think, you know, working with some artists too, like that gives you a different perspective.
Absolutely.
I guess. And I work with now, like the artists I do work with, you know, like I have a couple like, you know, vets, but most of my artists are all like, you know, up and coming, you know, like on the rise. So that in itself changes how I feel, because I'm like, oh, I know, like that person puts money in my pocket. Right. So I guess I listen, you know, it's it jades, it taints the picture. So that I you know what's so weird is I don't take this the wrong way, but I don't watch other people's work. Like I don't watch like I'll go back and watch like classic movies, but I'm in such a headspace right now where I just like to create.
Got you.
And I'm trying to not have a tainted project or
sense.
like a video that copies somebody else or imitates it a little bit too much.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm just trying to find my lane and really
and carve it out as best you can.
Exactly, without having that, oh, I have to be like that director, or I have to have a video that looks like this. It's amazing to be able to watch other people's crafts. I guess like my headspace right now, I'm just trying to refine my best self.
Absolutely.
So I don't, you know, like I don't.
No, it's all good, man.
Yeah.
No, I feel like all of
I miss the old days though. I miss when music videos were like, you know, on MTV, because I used to watch. That was TRL was it. You know, the countdown, that was me. Right. You know, I was glued to that, and I used to watch like all those videos. But now I don't know. I'm just in a weird tunnel. Yeah, I'm in like a tunnel, you know, and I'm I put the blinders on and I'm just working.
No doubt. Well, I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
Doing this
thank
with
you.
me, man.
I appreciate it.
We finally got it done.
Finally. No, I'm glad.
Had to come all the way to the West Coast.
I'm glad. And look, it's Grand Rapids right there.
We repping, baby.
I'm not at all faking or fronting.
No, he rep.
I do.
Extra hard.
Whenever I can.
All right, well, look, we 2 bright guys. My homeboy Josh. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, brother.
You know what to do. Like, follow, subscribe. 2 bright guys. The one and only. You see all this stuff everywhere, so I ain't gonna say no names now. Because he focused. All right, y'all, we out.